Hey, remarkable women, welcome. Does this sound familiar? People tell me all the time I should write a book, but you're thinking, what exactly am I going to write about? Really glad you asked. That's today's question. I'm Susan Baracco. I'm a ghostwriter and book collaborator, and I believe that more women must write books to get there, to share their wisdom and experiences with the world. I think we'd be hard pressed to find a more important time to be telling our stories. My goal is to reach remarkable women through LinkedIn Live, to educate and support them on their book writing journey. There is a lot to know about writing a book. And I find the one thing that holds remarkable women back is a lack of knowledge and information about the process. So I'm here to solve that for you. I'll be answering frequently asked questions, the questions that I get most often. I'll be sharing my insight, perspective, and I will bring in a guest expert or two along the way just to keep this interesting. When I'm flying solo like I am today, you can expect these sessions to last, to be short and to the point, lasting about 10 minutes or so. So let's dive in to today's question. So many women come to me feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of ideas and stories taking up space in their mind when they're thinking about writing a book. It seems like every time you tell somebody about one of your experiences or ideas, you think, maybe that's what I should be writing about. Or perhaps you're thinking, actually, that doesn't really seem that interesting to me, or it sounds a little too much like other people's stories. The bottom line is there's a lot to sort out. Initially, it depends on two key things. First of all, purpose. What is the purpose or vision you have for your book? What purpose will it serve in the world? There's what will it do for your audience? And more importantly, or just as importantly, what will it do for you? The second thing is the type of book that you want to write. And the clarity around these two things will really help. I work with women who have written memoirs, who have written business books, perhaps subject expert books, showcasing their expertise, or even fiction. And it's really helpful to be thinking about, okay, what's the purpose? And then how do these two things work together? So what format will my purpose be best served? What type of a book do I want to write? And where is that going to fit? In addition to purpose or vision and your book type, there are 4 tools that I want to share with you to help you get organized. I touched briefly on purpose and book type. The first tool that I want to talk about is a good old-fashioned timeline. Timeline can be a really powerful tool to help you start bringing back memories, to start recalling important information that you want to share potentially in your book. So whether you're writing a memoir, or you're writing even a business book or a subject expertise book, you're probably going to choose a chunk of time to cover. And it might be a season of your life or a season of your career where you learned things. And that's what you want to include, those types of things in your book. Start with creating a timeline. And I strongly recommend that you write a timeline, start by drawing out a timeline, but give yourself plenty of space. I had an opportunity a couple of years back to do a timeline for myself during a program that I was taking. And I didn't give myself anywhere near enough space. I thought, oh yeah, that'll be plenty. And I just wrote a line on a notebook page. And it turned out I started writing really small, trying to fit more things in, because as I was writing, more things were coming to my mind. And that's the power of a timeline. As you start writing these things down, you realize, oh gosh, I forgot there was that thing that happened to me, or that course that I took, or something that happened. Maybe it was a graduation from a program or something like that. And you want to start putting those things in. So take your time, have some fun with a timeline. The next thing that I recommend for all of my clients is what I call a story inventory. And I have here index cards, and there are 4 different colors in this pack. And I recommend, I think index cards are kind of fun to work with. It's also tactile, easy to pop in your handbag and take with you. So you have, if you're stuck somewhere waiting for the bus or waiting for, an appointment, something like that. And it's nice to have it be tactile too, so that you're actually doing that. That doesn't mean that this can't be done digitally. It absolutely can. The rule here with your note cards, however, if you decide to use index cards, is one idea one story, one experience, one teaching point per card. And you want to break the cards down into categories. So you're going to use the colors to signify, perhaps the first color is personal stories, the second color is professional, the third is maybe your passion or the topic that you're going to be covering in your book. So entirely up to you, but one idea, one story, one teaching point per card. And then I'll talk in a moment about how we get the information off of the cards into a digital format as you start moving forward. The next tool that I hope you have are notes, or I'm hoping that you're a journaler. If you are, you're going to have an advantage in terms of when it's time to sit down and write your book. You're going to have a lot of information to go back to and look at. If you're not a journaler, it's okay, and you can still write a great book. But if sometimes people will say, geez, I want to write a book, but I'm not ready. It might be a couple of years before I write. That's great news. Start journaling today. If you're not going to write for another 2 years, please start journaling, taking notes about what happens to you, what you're experiencing, and how different experiences are shaping the way you think. Those are important details to capture if at some point you do plan to write your book. The one thing, this is an arts and crafts, so you've got your cards, your multicolored cards. With your journal or your notes, you also want to have, and I don't know if you can see these are highlighters, but you want to go and pick out a couple different color highlighters. And then what you're going to do, just like with the different color cards, color-coded, is you go through your notes and your journals, and you want to read through and look for, oh, there's a story I want to include. I definitely want this in my book. And you're going to highlight that in whatever color works for you. It might be teaching points. There might be things where you are reading through your notes, reading through your journal, and you realize, oh, that's when I realized I had this, this skill, that this was a natural skill for me. I want to include that story in my book, or that detail, that teaching point. So again, you're highlighting these things so that it's easy for you to go back and pull them out without having to read every single thing in your journal or in your notes. And then all of those tools work really well to help you develop your outline. And that's the fourth tool. And one thing I want to stress to you is to keep that outline really simple. Go through your timeline, your story inventory, and your journals, your notes, and do those things first, and then sit down and start pulling out the different stories, the different ideas, and plugging them into an outline for your book. That's the best way to get started. So 2 parts. The first part is to have the right tools. The second part is to have the right mindset. I believe that your book is already in you. It's already there, and it exists in your mind and in your heart. And we just need, as a ghostwriter and you as an author, what we need to do is our job is to listen, to look, and to develop that story, that manuscript, and pull it out. So a couple things that you'll need in terms of mindset, and that will also help with overwhelm in terms of as you think about what you want to be writing. The tools are super helpful. The mindset's critical. And having an open mind, being open to change. I've worked on a lot of different books over the years, and pretty much every book I've ever worked on, an author comes into the process thinking, this is what I'm going to write about. This is where I want my book to go. And by the time we get ready to actually submit it to be printed, to submit it to a publisher, it's changed a lot. So I want you to come into this process with a really open mind of, yes, have some ideas, have your purpose in mind, and have the type of book that you want to write, have all of that ready and be thinking about that, but be open to change. The other mindset that I want you to adapt is the discovery mindset. As you go back and you look at your timeline, you look at your story inventory, and you look at your notes, you're not ever, most likely never have looked at your life that way ever before. So go at it with a discovery mindset and see what you learn. It's amazing what my clients have learned about themselves as they go through the book writing process. Ask anyone who's written a book, and they can share with you stories about what that experience has been like and what they've discovered about themselves that they didn't realize. It's really quite an exciting process. And the discovery mindset is the most important key to that uniqueness. I mentioned right at the opening that, geez, I'm thinking my story sounds a lot like everyone else's. I can guarantee you that your lived experience is unique, and that your expertise is unique. We just have to go and dig that out. We have to go looking for those things that will help to make your book stand out and be unique in the marketplace. And then I had to include the word patience on this slide as well. Patience is key to the success of your book writing experience. Two things: you need to have patience with yourself first, have that open mind, have that discovery mindset, but you also have to have patience with this process and understand that writing a book is a very fluid process. It can take many twists and turns. It takes on a life of its own as you start to write. It's really an exciting and fun process. And so patience is key. And I'd like to leave you with this quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. I saw the angel in the marble, and I carved until I set it free. I believe that every artist, regardless of the medium, whether you're a painter, whether you're a weaver, a carver, someone who's a sculptor or a writer, there is that story in there. As I mentioned, I know your story is in you, and we're going to start chipping away and picking away at it to reveal the beautiful story, the gems that you have to share with the world. Before I sign off, I want to ask two things of you. First of all, first and foremost, if you have a specific question about book writing, please either comment below on this event or direct message me here on LinkedIn, and I will be sure to get to your question in an upcoming LinkedIn Live when I'm talking about frequently asked questions. Second, if you'd like to learn more about the 5 stages of the book writing journey that I have up here, and you want to get your specific questions answered, I'm holding a masterclass. It's actually coming up next week. I'm going to drop the link here also in the comments below on this event. You can click that link. It's next Thursday, September 26th. Love to see you there. If you have questions, please DM me here on LinkedIn. Take care until next time, and I'll see you soon.